While much attention and notoriety has been placed on the financial activities of Hunter Biden, the activities of Affinity Partners flies under the radar of public attention. This is surprising, because the amounts of money handled by Affinity Partners are vast, while the amounts associated with Hunter Biden, by comparison, are small. Affinity Partners is a private equity firm founded by Jared Kushner in January 2021, shortly after he left his role as senior advisor to President Donald Trump. The firm is based in Miami, Florida, and focuses on investing in American and Israeli companies expanding into regions like India, Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Asia. Kushner aims to foster economic ties between Arab countries and Israel through these investments. His efforts align with his previous work on the Abraham Accords during his time at the White House. Therefore, Kushner's time in the White House played a significant role in the formation of Affinity Partners. Kushner served as a key figure in brokering the Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab states, including the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. These diplomatic efforts helped establish strong relationships with leaders from these countries, particularly Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS. Kushner's close relationship with MBS was instrumental in securing investments for Affinity Partners. The $2 billion investment from Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, PIF, was facilitated by Kushner's connections with MBS. Despite initial objections from PIF advisors, due to concerns about Kushner's management experience and his fees, MBS overruled them to invest in Kushner's firm. Did MBS do this because of who Kushner is, the son-in-law of a sitting president at the time? Critics argue that Kushner leveraged his government position to secure foreign investments for Affinity Partners. This has raised ethical concerns about potential payback for favors done during his tenure as senior advisor to President Trump. There are no investors U.S. in Affinity Partners, which is seen as rather odd. In other words, these are conflict of interest concerns. That Kushner has leveraged his contacts during his time as senior advisor in the White House, and his wife is President Trump's daughter. Affinity Partners is wholly owned by Jared Kushner. Affinity's agreements with foreign governments create substantial conflicts of interest. These governments have paid hundreds of millions in fees for investment advisory services. The involvement of members from a presidential family raises questions about whether investments are motivated by commercial considerations or political influence. Are these foreign countries buying access to the White House? Despite employing former U.S. government officials, Affinity leverages loopholes that exempt it from disclosing work on behalf of foreign entities. The funding of Affinity Partners comes from sovereign wealth funds of 3 Arab countries. Affinity Partners has secured over $3 billion, primarily from the Saudi Arabian government's Public Investment Fund, PIF, which contributed $2 billion. Additionally, the UAE and Qatar have invested a combined $1.5 billion, as of December of 2024. The fees charged by Affinity are substantial, well over $100 million. So far, Affinity has invested $110 million in the Shlomo Group, a prominent Israeli automotive and credit company. And it has invested $440 million in Phoenix Holdings, Israel's largest insurance company. This investment was approved by the Israeli Capital Market Authority. As of July 2024, Affinity has not distributed any earnings to its investors. This lack of return on investment raises questions about whether the investments are driven by commercial interests or other motivations, such as buying influence. Senate Finance Committee Chair Ron Wyden has expressed concerns that Affinity might be structured as a compensation scheme for U.S. political figures. Wyden questions why Affinity Partners has not distributed any earnings to its clients, despite collecting significant fees from foreign investors. He suggests that the firm might be structured more as a compensation scheme for U.S. political figures, rather than a standard investment fund. Wyden is concerned that Affinity's exclusively foreign-funded private investment funds could be exploited as a loophole to avoid complying with disclosure laws. The senator highlights potential counterintelligence risks due to the involvement of Middle Eastern governments in funding Affinity. Wyden notes that the unusually high fees charged by Affinity raise suspicions about investors' motivations. Wyden seeks detailed information on investors, their investments, annual returns, employee roles, and interactions with foreign sovereign wealth funds. The structure allows investors to renegotiate or withdraw their investments after August 2026, potentially influencing U.S. political figures. And to link everything up neatly, Affinity Partners has been linked to discussions about transforming Gaza into a luxury tourist destination. Precisely the vision President Trump detailed recently, that the U.S. should take over Gaza and transform it into a high-end tourist destination, akin to Miami Beach or the French Riviera. This plan involves relocating Palestinians from the area, or ethnic cleansing. And back in February 2024, Kushner noted that Gaza's waterfront property could be very valuable, if developed for tourism. He suggested relocating Palestinians temporarily or permanently to make way for such developments. This can only mean that behind President Trump's grand plan, stands Affinity Partners, that is, the investments of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and of Qatar. Jared Kushner's time at the White House provided him with critical connections that facilitated funding for Affinity Partners, while also shaping its strategic focus on bridging economic gaps between historically rival nations like Saudi Arabia and Israel. And so, while Hunter Biden's money sources are good to question and investigate, the reach of Jared Kushner is far wider, especially now that his father-in-law is again the President of the United States. But given the restructuring and gutting of federal agencies now underway, it is also highly unlikely that the activities of Affinity Partners will come under any critical scrutiny.